With Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the Zelda series exploded in popularity, reaching sales never seen before. This doesn't mean anything to me, because I don't own Nintendo stocks, but it did bring a lot of new people into the fan base, which is a good thing, because it's the reason my YouTube channel has any viewers. Is a good thing, because it generates more discussion, art, and just things related to this great franchise. But it does create a slight disconnect. I've spoken to someone who's only played the new games, and they didn't even know what the Triforce was. It seemed crazy at first, but how would they have been able to know? I don't think it's mentioned in either game anywhere. It's essentially just a weird triangle taped all over the place now. So in recommending an old game for people to go back and try, my initial instinct would have been Ocarina, just because of how solid it is all around. But after playing Wind Waker again this year, I realized that the new games ended up borrowing a lot of design concepts from it. So Wind Waker might be the more thoughtful recommendation. Besides for the fact you can't play it on Switch. So today, I wanted to highlight a lot of the similarities between these games, and maybe encourage some to give it a go. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, which might be over to the right now, because YouTube hates us! Even though it's a 20-year-old game, this video is in the context of a recommendation, so I'll refrain from most spoilers. But to start off, both games take place in a ruinous version of Hyrule. In Wind Waker, the entire kingdom was completely flooded, and its history has been mostly lost. It's immediately obvious how this is similar to the Calamity or Zonai. What's cool in Wind Waker is how much more relevant the past is to the present. Although the kingdom is flooded, you'll meet characters from the ancient world, and it makes sense why all of them would be here. It ends up being this really cool collision of new blood versus ancient history, and you get the vibe you're a random kid who arrived after all the important stuff has already happened. It's kind of the entire through line of the story, but it also generates a lot of whimsy. Now, I'm gonna shut up and talk about the actual gameplay. Wind Waker's progression is extremely linear, and you have to do all of its dungeons in one specific order. But the world can end up feeling really open. It's certainly not an open world, as you'll need certain items to reach certain places, but it can be really fun to come upon an island and explore it. If they're not story relevant, then usually they either have some sort of upgrade, heart piece, or at least rupees on them for you to find. What especially adds this more open feeling though, is the process of charting all the islands onto your map. Slowly filling it out can feel extremely satisfying, and every time you do it you get a hint about the nearby area, which can sometimes be useful. But the map isn't just useful for the sake of having a map. It lets you more easily identify which islands align with what treasures. You collect maps that show an island with an X in its nearby ocean, and by going there you can find a reward. It's a very fun collection element, and it just feels good to master the timing for when to pull up treasures. Again, it's not a true open world, and you'll have to go through the story in a specific order, but I think the design of the game can make you love exploring the ocean and seeing everything in it. Hell, if you do a little bit of exploring early on, you can start collecting a certain late game item immediately after the second dungeon. Early experiments for Breath of the Wild's combat can also be seen in Wind Waker. You're able to pick up enemy weapons and turn them against the poor bokoblins. Some of these weapons are actually better than your default sword, so it's not a useless strategy, and it's just fun to use them. Speaking of drops, the monsters in this game also drop items upon dying, which are either used to complete specific quest lines or craft items at shopkeepers. You can even use the grapple to farm some of these items off enemies. Really, a lot of this game has the same collectathon elements that make my brain feel good while playing Breath of the Wild. Seriously, there are a lot of rupees in this game, which you can spend at shops, like Beetle. That's right, Beetle is also in this game, and it's actually the game he debuted in. His design isn't even that different from Breath of the Wild. If he stood up then he'd be a lot stubbier, but his face is super similar. But you know who else is from Wind Waker, but is visually identical? The Koroks, baby! Seriously, it looks like they just took the model from Wind Waker and stuck them into Breath of the Wild. After collecting a couple hundred of the little guys, it's almost a little jarring seeing them look exactly the same, but in a different world. Don't fix what's not broke, I guess. Actually, these character design similarities also remind me that Link even starts this game in blue. Neat. The main similarities are definitely present in the story, structure of the ocean, and the combat, but it's still interesting to think about how these character design ideas also apply. Even though Breath of the Wild has more detailed environments, the characters themselves still use shell shading, just like Wind Waker. Alright, those are most of the similarities I can think of for now. But even though Wind Waker firmly places itself into the classic style of Zelda games, it's cool how many concepts Wind Waker has that were eventually expanded upon in the newer games. It almost feels like there could be an alternate universe where Nintendo made an HD system right after the GameCube, never did Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, and jumped straight into Breath of the Wild, and it would be a very natural progression. The only thing that makes it hard to recommend the game to new players is the fact that it's only available via emulation or dead hardware. But if you're willing to go down either of those paths, then it's absolutely a wonderful experience, and one that somewhat marries the old and new styles of Zelda in an excellent way. That's right folks, a Nintendo YouTuber with a Toon Link profile picture thinks you should give Wind Waker a try. Holy shit. Oh yeah, I guess you also get what's basically the original paraglider. Okay, like and subscribe, bye.